Hey everybody, welcome to my suburban oasis. My name is Soleil and I garden in Zone 6A, and we're going to be doing our late walkabout and garden tour because we had some more thunderstorms. We just keep getting rain and rain and more rain, and I think the plants are kind of tired of it. But today we did have some sunshine and it helped bring things back to life, so I think that you're going to enjoy the tour today. So let's get started. So the first thing that I want to show you today is the half moon garden bed because it's looking really beautiful right now. We have the Tian Shan 7 Sun flowers that are in bloom. They're probably about 30% blooming, and they smell amazing. They are absolutely beautiful with their gorgeous little tiny teeny blooms, and the pollinators adore them. In addition to that, I have seen a wonderful hummingbird coming through the garden and just enjoying these little tiny flowers. So let's take a little bit of a closer look up in here. This is what the flowers look like up close, as well as the leaves. They're really gorgeous. Again, these are highly scented. At least scented enough so that I can smell them when I come outside during the day and also during the evening, but I think they're really beautiful also. So this is a type of shrub that I have tree formed over the years, and it's getting better and better each year. Oh my goodness, there's the hummingbird. Oh shoot, I missed him. He was just right here. He really loves the Tian Shan 7 sunflower. He was here last year as well. So super duper fun to see the hummingbird come around. You can see we have some bumblebees all over. And I forget what I was talking about when I saw the hummingbird. It's kind of like seeing a squirrel or a rabbit or something like that. Just kind of stops me every once in a while. But yes, these are a fantastic tree that I pruned up into a tree form from a shrub. These have been in the ground for about 4 years now, and I'm just really thrilled with how they're turning out. They will get about 12 to 15 feet tall, but they do also have a really nice winter interest with their bark because they have a really beautiful peeling bark on them, and I just love it. So those are getting more and more exposed over the years, and as the trunks thicken up on these tree forms, I just think they're even better every year. So let's take a look over at the lady garden bed. This one is really quite full right now. The Pinky Winky is doing fantastic. It's fully bloomed out and has fully colored up at this point. And we're starting to see some of the blooms of the mums in this garden bed open up. And the little limes back here are doing all right. They look a lot better than last year, so we're starting to get some color and a little bit more size. I'm hoping for them to grow. They should be about 3 to 4 feet tall and wide, and so I'm hoping that next year they get a little bit bigger. I've actually thought about replacing them with a hydrangea that is a little bit more shade tolerant even than the little lime is, because this is definitely part shade. But I might let them continue on for another year because next year will be year 3, so they should put on some really significant growth. Now I haven't seen any flowers on this panicle hydrangea over here, which is, let me read it's a firelight tidbit. But even though I haven't seen anything, the leaves are kind of getting smaller and tighter, so that usually means that a bud might come along. So if we've had really good weather this week, which is definitely in the forecast, maybe we will actually get some blooms on that. That would be fantastic to see this year, because when I bought those, it was just a quart size, and so very small. The coral berries have their little pink berries on them now, so they have bloomed and been pollinated. And as a result, we have these like bubblegum pink candy looking berries on this. And these will turn into food for the birds. They will enjoy those. And I talked a little bit about the fact that I'm interested in replacing these shrubs with something else, and I still am. Despite the fact that they got bigger this year and taller, there's just something about the texture that I'm not really sure I like in this area with the shed right here. So I'd really like to get something that's larger that fills up this whole area rather than like 3 or 4 different types of plants. So we'll see what I figure out. I don't have anything specifically planned at this time. Because of all of the rain, you can see our phlox have actually turned a really ugly color. They're fine, but they just have gotten too much rain, just too much water all over. Our boom chocolate over here looks lovely, even though we don't have any blooms on it. That foliage is just a stealer of the show. And then we have our strawberry Sunday hydrangea that's right next to it. And I think next year we're going to get even greater height on this one, which I'm really looking forward to, because right here on the corner that will look lovely towering just over the top of the geranium. And this shade area over here is looking great. This gets the morning sun, even some afternoon sun, because it does catch some of the southern rays. But despite all of the heavy rain, I think it still looks really good, because we haven't had a lot of breakage, which I expected to have on these hydrangeas because they have such big blooms. And so I thought maybe we would end up losing some of those in the rain and that they would snap off, but they've stayed really well. I do have them in these cages that I got from Gardener's Supply Company, so you can see the cage a little bit better on this one. And they're real nice and sturdy cages, and I think they're the perfect size for many hydrangeas. We also have some sedum in this garden bed, and I have a couple of starts that I have in here as well, just some tiny ones that I'm hoping will grow on and get a little bit bigger next year and kind of help to fill in some of the space. And I think that will look really nice because it kind of echoes the color of the limey blooms of the hydrangea, just on a little bit smaller scale. Well, I took a look at the pink diamond hydrangea over here, and I was trying to decide whether I could take the stake off of this or not, and I decided no, it's not going to be able to be taken off because it was still leaning. So I pushed the stake in a little bit further into the ground, and hopefully it will, you know, get it to harden off in a more upright position by next spring. So I'm going to leave that on for now. I do still want to come through here and take out some of these hostas that are around this hydrangea, because that will give it room to grow, and I think it will be really a nice repetition of these hydrangeas over here, which are a smooth hydrangea. These are called the Bar Harbor Seaside Serenade. It's a variety by Monrovia, and they grow about 3 to 4 feet tall and wide. Now over here, the vinca is starting to try to get out of its bounds again because of all of the rain. Everything's just growing like a jungle right now, so I'm going to need to come through and pull this vinca so it doesn't root in and clip it back. And I do have a circle of plastic edging around this as well as the rocks, just to help keep it in bounds. But you can see it's really trying to leap out and create some more new plants. So we're going to make sure that it doesn't root into the pathway. Over here, our Scarlet O'Hara Pieris is putting on its little bloom stalks. So that's awesome. It looks like we're going to get lots and lots of blooms next year in the very early spring or late winter. And I think today we're actually going to go into the Wayback Garden, you guys. I'm feeling like we might be able to make it without getting too many bug bites. The oak leaf hydrangeas back here have really filled out. I don't know if you recall what they looked like earlier this spring, but they were just eaten down to the nubs by a rabbit or groundhog, something like that, and they're just doing great. I'm going to come around and show you the witch hazel from this side. So we have a witch hazel tree right here, which this is its second full year. And I can see it's starting to set its buds in here along the stems. Do you see those little buds? So those will also bloom in really late winter. And this one is the Jelena variety. It's really, really pretty. Now next year, I'm hoping that that one will get a little bit taller. I'm also to the point where I'm thinking that it's time to be able to take out this buckthorn tree that we have here, which creates quite a mess. Right now it's dropping all of its berries all over the path, and I will show you that in a minute. But just want to take that one out and allow the dogwood that is beneath it to begin to take over that area and create some shade. You can see right here our Pinky Winky is gorgeous, just towering over the Striptease Hosta and the Garnet Maple with that flowing Hakonachloa golden grass. Now, we are at the end of these phlox, so I am going to cut these back soon. And because of the rainstorms this week, I did not get to cutting down the red bud that's down here at this other end, but I do believe that that's going to happen really soon. I'm going to get it done. I just need some time without some rain falling. Isn't this pretty right here? Gosh, I just love it. I love the way these little hotties look over here. I have one that is in a pot that is in full sun, and it doesn't look as good as these that are planted in the ground. Probably because I have some other plants in with it and they're kind of stealing some nutrients from it. But gosh, I just think this is pretty right here to kind of enter into the path. We've got some nice new growth on our ferns over here. We have our autumn ferns, and you can see they have the new growth has that coppery color on it. And there's that dogwood I was talking about that is under the story of the tree right here that is dropping all of the berries. And I'll just show you what they look like. They're these ugly little blackberries, and they're everywhere, and they create little teeny tiny mini trees every spring. So if I can get rid of it, I will be really, really happy. But everything's looking really, really lush back here. In fact, so much so that I need to do some digging and dividing. And the temperatures are going to start falling here soon. So hopefully we'll be able to get after that and get some of that done. Boy, I just feel like things are kind of piling up on me in terms of stuff that I'd like to get done in the garden, but the weather has not been good. How about that curve on the weeping spruce over here? Isn't that glorious? Now that's been created both with natural growth of the tree as well as some staking, and I just love that growth habit. So that should provide some really nice different texture and color and shape and form in the winter this year. So yeah, this red bud is the one that looks quite sickly. It's just not doing that great, so I'm going to take that one out. I don't know if I'll replace it with something else or not. Time will tell. But I also need to prune this apple. I don't know if you can see that very well, but there's definitely some really large branch growth on that I need to cut back to just a couple inches above where it branches out from the main stem so that it stays in as an espalier. You can see all of the buds on these pyrrhus as well over here. Okay, let's take a quick trip back into the way back, shall we? Here we go. So back here on the stairway, we do have some Tian Shen 7 sunflower trees as well on the left here that the deer have eaten some off of, but they seem to be at the point where they will continue to grow. They haven't eaten them down to a nub or anything, so hopefully they will get a little bit bigger next year and we'll continue to see more growth and be able to make those into tree forms as well. So the deer have eaten on my Little Miss Kim lilac over here, but it's still very, very much alive and happy, so I think it'll be fine. We have some pokeweed here that has grown up, but the deer have eaten some of that off, so luckily it won't set seed, hopefully, anyways. And then as we walk down the path, it's kind of dim out right now because the sun has gone beneath the trees, but you can still see the glowing of the silver plants that are back here. So that's what we did on purpose, is to kind of lighten up the shade with some of these lungworts, also called pulmonaria. And then we have these boxwoods that we planted in just last year that are doing really well. They have greened up. I think they have much better drainage than where they were before. And the hellebores are getting really big, so we're going to get a lot more blooms next year on those. I'm really looking forward to seeing what this looks like back here in the winter time. So you can see down here we have some beautiful ferns along with the Brennera and the hellebore. These are the autumn ferns right here. And then I also have, I think that was the Jurassic gold fern. And then further over we have, I think it's another Japanese tassel fern. Let's go take a look. Yeah, this one is the Japanese tassel fern right here. So that one is starting to do pretty good. I see some new growth on that. And then we have a Himalayan maidenhair fern right here, which isn't that beautiful. Look at the texture on that. It's such intricate pattern. Gorgeous. And we have these baby hellebores. Remember planting these back here? They're doing well. We have quite a few of them here on the hill. So hopefully we'll have a lot more interest down here towards the bottom of the hill as well next year. All right, let's head on back. All right, well, I thought I would show you some of the planters that we have along the poolside here because they're starting to fare better now that we've had a sunshiny day. The petunias were definitely starting to get a little yellowed with too much rain, but here we have it, and they're looking much better now and pretty full. I may need to just cut them back a little bit to give them a little bit of a nudge towards pushing some more regrowth, kind of thickening them up to be able to push out some new blooms as well as we head into a little bit cooler weather. And these are looking great on the corner here. I love the topiaries and how they turned out, and you can see how that new growth on those are what are those, polar gold arborvitaes, and I can come through and snip them, and whenever they put on new growth, it will be that nice bright gold color that they have there that really stands out. And I think the caladiums were a really fun thing to have this year, so I'm glad to see that they did well in the sun. And then we have the sun patiens in front, and the calibrachoas are doing really well despite all of that water. They're definitely probably the most robust plant in this planter. But I do think that the geraniums are also really beautiful when they get their blooms on them too. Just a lovely, lovely combination to have here. I've definitely enjoyed it, and I'm glad that I kind of grouped all of these together. It makes it easy to water, like the 1 or 2 times that I've actually watered this entire garden season. It hasn't been much. I do need to come through and deadhead this Pugster blue butterfly bush, just kind of tidy it up a little bit. But I think this garden bed's looking really nice along with the rest of the long border. Our little double 9-bark is getting really tall. It's almost to the top of the fence now. I might in future years have to give that a trim. We'll see. I might have to cut it back. It's possible with those that you can cut them back all the way to the ground and they will grow back. We have some new blooms on our red rose back here, which is the no-name rose, because when I bought it, it wasn't supposed to be red, but it is. That's looking pretty. And then we have some blooms on the neon sedum here with a limelight bloom kind of snuggled in there as well, just kind of resting on it. And then our can-do hydrangea right here has some beautiful buds that are setting on it, so I know we're going to get some blooms on that within the next few weeks. So hopefully we'll get those and be able to enjoy them for a couple weeks before the fall really sets in. Now look at this mum. Isn't that giant? That's got to be close to 3 feet wide and 2 feet tall underneath of the beautiful Japanese maple here. And I'm not sure what kind of Japanese maple this is, but it sure is gorgeous. And the new growth at the top is really red, and that's what all of it was before. I don't know if it just kind of mellowed out with the cold temperatures or if it's, you know, a side effect of too much sun or too much rain. Maybe more likely too much rain than sun, because we haven't had a lot of sunny days. But anywho, I think this long border is looking really, really beautiful right now. And just kind of muted tones and colors as we ease into September here. And then over here, next to our other emerald green arborvitae topiary, we have Let's Dance Rave hydrangea with its beautiful blooms. And I think we might have some other buds getting ready to form, but this was just a tiny quart as well. So I'm happy with the growth that's put on. And next year I think it'll do even better, as this quick fire has definitely helped to provide some shade for it, but allow it to get plenty of sunlight as well in that spot. And our forsythia here, we are putting on buds for spring. There's going to be lots of those all over it. And then another sedum, which I think is the Mr. Goodbud sedum. All right, well, heading into the front garden here, I have trimmed the liatris up. Kind of left some of their foliage along the edge here just to kind of keep that border going. And over here we had the viburnum that some of you have asked about. It's doing great. It responded very well to the trimmings that we had. I did clip back those couple of sprigs that went up to the roof line, and so it's staying nice and tame now and hopefully putting on buds for next season. All right, let's take a look at the front garden here, which is the long border of the front. And this is where I have been seeing lots of goldfinch and enjoying them every day. They come to the seed heads on these, and you can see, like for instance, this one where they have eaten all of the seeds off of the purple coneflower, and they just love the echinacea seeds. I'll see 2 and 3 at a time, sometimes even 4 of them, just really enjoying a little snack. I posted a picture of some actually on the Instagram account that I have if you want to check that out. So over here, I feel like we get a little bit of that prairie feel with these grasses. I just love blue stem grasses. They're just gorgeous. And those should put on a little bit more color too in the fall. They're a little bit hard to see right now in this light, but they're gorgeous. And as we walk down the line here, I would just say that I do need to come through and deadhead my alliums. The Millennium alliums have gone over now, and they look really cute, but I don't want them to seed themselves all over my garden. So I am going to come through and give them a nice tidy up. Now I can only take the look of echinaceas that are black and gray for so long, and then I end up having to cut them back. But right now you can see that all over the birds are getting their fair share of seeds. So I'm going to leave these up at least for another week, and we'll go from there. And here we have two really big perennial mums that I have. And these are a bright orange color that just look like giant pumpkins on the end here. All right, well, looking at this front garden over here, it's looking really pretty with the colors kind of subdued from last week even, as the bobos kind of fade into that light pink color and the sedum starts to match. The sedums are definitely not liking all of the rain that we've gotten, so I'm really glad that it stopped and that we got some sunshine today and that it's in store for the next couple of days as well. But it is about to cool down some, so I'm hopeful that between having no rain and having a cool down, I'll be able to get out in the garden. We'll be able to get some work done together. Everybody cross your fingers for that to happen. And also, I hope that those of you who have not gotten rain have gotten some, because I've heard from some of you that you've just been waiting and waiting and it hasn't felt like it's come. So now I think this fall I may take some of the ferns that we've been growing on here up by the house and plant them in the way back garden, because they are some really nice specimens now. Most of them, or the majority of them, are perennial ferns, and they're doing really well over here, so I think they'll do great in the way back, and hopefully that will help to bring about a little bit more kind of order back there and make it feel even more like a garden, little less wild. I do like the wildness that the wild feel that it has back there, but I do also like to have some sense of order. These hydrangeas here are the Cape Lookout hydrangeas, and they have not enjoyed all of the rain. They have kind of yellowed up a little bit. The blooms have gotten a bit tattered, so they will be really happy to have a slowdown of rain. On the other hand, the moss garden back here with the Irish moss has really enjoyed it, and the humidity has been great for it, and it is almost completely covered. Hopefully it will kind of grow over the edges in some spots and just kind of look natural. I love how it's mounding in that bird bath there. And this is a firelight hydrangea that has colored up. Very beautiful. Not a whole lot new going on in this garden bed. Obviously, they're hostas and hellebores, so they don't do a whole lot after they bloom. But I think that they look really beautiful, and the green is very calming. The deer have been through and been taking snacks because I haven't had a chance with all the rain to get out here and do any spraying. So you can see we've got some hosta leaf sticks over here. It's maybe a new kind of plant that could catch on. I don't think so, though. But our blue corner is good, so that's very deer resistant. The new plants that we planted over here with the blue stem grasses, and they're starting to put out their shoots, which is so cool. Then they will have some blooms on them, and they're just gorgeous. Such pretty colors, kind of a purpley red, maroon, and blue, with the lavender as well. In this garden bed, we just finished planting the lavender, which is great. It got a lot of rain even after we planted, so definitely not needing to water anything for probably 3 weeks. But you can see down in here some of those little babies that were starting to make branches or leaves are starting to come out, so that's cool. And I have a third stem that's over here, which just makes me really happy to see. And that's the Gatsby Moon oak leaf hydrangea. So I'm hoping for blooms on that one next year. I love that it feels like a garden over here now, as opposed to just kind of the side forgotten space. So as we get a little bit more height on these different shrubs that are in this area and a little bit more color, it just feels much more put together. And I still need to trim the sumac. Again, all of these jobs that I talked about like 3 weeks ago are jobs that I haven't gotten around to because this whole entire time we've been getting rain, or it's been so incredibly hot that it just is not smart to even be outside. These mums still look beautiful, just as good as last week. And the verbena is being enjoyed by this bumblebee here. Every little teeny tiny flower. Oh boy, it looks like a farmer. I got something from a farmer here. I don't know if that's, what is that? Is that like millet or wheat or something? I don't know. If you know what that is, tell me in the comments below. That's interesting. And look how big this sage has gotten, this variegated sage. But it's beautiful. It's such a gorgeous color. And then we've gotten more blooms on this phlox, which is a very bright phlox that just lights up in the evening. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this garden tour, and we will see you next time. Bye!